Have you ever felt exhausted at work but didn't know why? Have you ever wondered if the company is actually manipulating your emotions or if your boss might be a psychopath? Today, we are diving deep to discuss the dark side of corporate psychology, exposing the workplace secrets that people never talked about. And we have an expert to break us all down for us. Welcome to Medicus. We have Mr. Amit Rastogi, a corporate psychologist and an expert in corporate psychology who has worked with many professionals around the world and all different industries. He had seen it all, the burnouts, the toxic bosses, the corporate mind games, and today he is here to tell us the truth. Welcome, Mr. Rastogi. How are you doing, sir? And thank you so much for accepting our invite.
Thank you, Varun. Thank you so much. I'm doing great.
Wonderful.
Uh,
So, Mr. Amit Rastogi, so if you don't mind, maybe you can shed some light in terms of the experience you had in this corporate world as a psychologist.
yeah, sure. In psychology, of course, I'm in this area for the last 5 years. But I started my corporate career in 2000. So approximately 20 years of corporate experience, and then I started doing something which I love to do. So I moved out from the corporate career. I had been working with different banks. Uh, and I was working until 2020. And after that, I moved into this area of mental health and life coaching. So there are multiple things that I have done. I'm a certified uh, life coach, a certified new code NLP practitioner.
Fantastic.
Um, I've done a few courses and certifications in psychology, and currently I'm working with people with mental health issues one on one. I am working with corporates in corporate training and coaching, and I'm also
Great.
working with schools with teachers and students, of course. So this is the area that I'm currently working in, and psychology is something which is close to my heart, and I feel that it is one area which is definitely required today, and a lot of people require this, uh, and I can really help. I feel that I can really help people to really transform their life so that they can live up to their true potential. And this is what I'm
I'm
doing. Thank
I'm
you.
sure you're doing the best in the area that you are, Amit, because your experience speaks. And when I read your profile and the portfolio that you carry, is a tremendous experience and a tremendous change that you're trying to bring into this corporate world. So, can you name some corporate companies that you had worked, Amit, just for our viewers to understand how important this episode is for them to know and for them to also share it with their friends in terms of what a corporate employee feels and probably have to understand when it comes to their mental wellness.
Yeah, what a corporate employee feels, yes, I can definitely tell you. And that was one of the reason for me to move out because I have experienced the stress
So
and
you
the
are now an
burnout.
outsider trying to fix the insiders.
Yes,
Okay,
possibly. But
great.
I'm
So
just
what are some
trying to follow
companies,
my
Amit?
passion now.
Sure,
Yeah, I've
absolutely. I
worked
mean,
with
that's wonderful. Mhm.
sorry. Yeah, I've worked with ABN AMRO Bank. I've worked with RBS, Royal Bank of Scotland. I've worked with, last I was working with Citibank.
Okay. And as a
Yeah.
corporate psychologist, so which corporate companies have you worked with and probably helped their employees nurture themselves in their mental wellness?
So it is mainly the banking area that I've worked with, but there are other areas also in manufacturing as well. And I've worked with some of the people from the armed forces as well. Yeah.
Wonderful. I mean, these are the areas I believe banking industry is one of the industries which is facing a humongous amount of stress in their employees. That's what I've been hearing, especially in my
Absolutely.
friends and family. And the
Yeah.
next best, or I would actually rate the armed forces to be the top. Though they undergo a lot of training, the trauma what they undergo, as well as the strength what they need to have in their mental wellness, have to be always at the top notch for them to perform well in their operations. And I'm sure there
Absolutely.
is no one better than you who can answer today's questions and help our audience understand how well they can take care of their mental wellness. This is not only for corporate employees, ladies and gentlemen. This can also be applicable for any one of us, because everyone
Very
is an
true.
employee in their home and every person is an employer at their home or probably in their houses. So let's start with the big one, Amit. So, I mean, of course, anyone will join a company. Most of them, will join a company with a passion as well as with a liking towards that company, right? And
True.
of
True.
course, then let's leave the odd ones out. However, those people who join their dream companies, we still hear them saying that they are mentally exhausted. What happens at the workplace that actually drains their, mental stress? Sorry, their mental wellness out.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now, I'm sure you are coming from that era where our parents used to work for 8 hours. They were back
Right,
home and they were able to spend some time with us, with family. But
right.
those were the old days. We are in the new era,
Golden
right?
olden days. Okay.
Golden days, absolutely, right? But now today, the scenario has completely changed, right? People are unable to switch off when they are back. They are unable to switch off from their work,
Got it.
right?
Got it.
So many employees, they feel drained, not just because of heavy workloads, but due to cognitive overload,
Right.
which is the constant need to switch between the tasks, respond to emails, attend meetings, and manage expectation of the corporate. So this creates a state of continuous partial attention where the brain is always on. The switch is
Right.
always on, but never fully engaged. It is
Right.
always on.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now
Right.
there are, see, the thing is that corporate psychology and the personal psychology, I don't keep them different. It is just the situation, Varun. It is just the situation. You are dealing with some of the issues in your personal life, you are dealing it in professional life. And what really happens is that the stress that a person is feeling is actually goes into your personal as well as in your professional life.
Right.
Okay. The effect that you see will be in both the areas because they are unable to switch, they are unable to create any boundaries between
Unfortunately.
these two lives. Okay.
Right.
Now,
Right.
another major factor is the emotional suppression. Many workplaces lack psychological safety where people can openly express their concern. Instead, what happens is they are forced to bottle up their stress, suppress emotions, and perform under pressure. And what happens because of that? The mental fatigue, the anxiety, and even the physical exhaustion.
Right.
Right?
Right. But sir, do you really think they can really switch off their minds after they come back home? Because the expectations are high, the targets are high. There is always a certain level of insecurity that, if they don't respond to an email on time, their job
That
may
is the
be at
issue.
stake. There is a
That is the
crazy amount
issue.
of competition that we have been seeing, right? And
Yes.
where is the work-life balance? I mean, everyone talks about, you join our company, you'll have an excellent work-life balance and all. But do you think is that's really true in the employees, or is just that this marketing gimmicks that happens in this corporate world?
If you ask me, I feel that it's a myth. It's a myth in this hyper-connected world, right? Now, again, like I said, with the all the emails and the virtual meetings, and the work has actually blurred into your personal time,
Right, right,
right?
right.
And many employees, they feel guilty for taking breaks. They feel
Exactly,
really
sir.
guilty.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, the situations have changed that if they, I mean, those were days I'm talking about some 10 years ago. We exceed breaks by a minute or so, and we used to
Yeah,
feel bad about it because there is a productivity issue. Now I think
right.
people are even looking at them like, hey, do you also take breaks? Well, that's become
Hmm.
a question nowadays amongst the employees, and they are really not taking any breaks. I can connect the dots when you're saying that.
Yeah, and I want to share. I want to share one example here. So
Sure.
when I was working in the corporate world, uh, so if there was a day when I was leaving at around 4, 5 in the evening, the comment that I hear is, "Are you taking a half day today?" Okay, and I'm sure there are many people out there
Yes, sir.
listening to me, and they must have experienced this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now
I
it is
can
in the
connect the dots.
evening. I'm leaving maybe 1 hour early, right? And this is the kind of comment that I am getting.
Right. So
It is
going
very
back home
difficult.
on time, yes, sir. So going back home on time has become a crime nowadays, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
the expectation from an employer is you should be available every time until the manager tells you, hey, okay, now you can go back home. Well, isn't that criminal? Honestly, Amit, because there is no work-life balance if this is the case. Because we have been hearing in the news in the recent past, the authoritative people in sitting in the top chairs are commenting that, hey, you should, if we need to beat the world, 40 hours per week is not sufficient. You really need to up the targets and work minimum 50, 60 hours per week. Well, let's not name who they
Very
are
true.
for the security purposes. But then again, we have seen them saying, hey, what are you going to do going back home on weekends, looking at each other's face? I mean,
Mm.
that's okay, but I mean, isn't that what we call as work-life balance? Going back home, spending time with family, rejuvenating ourselves, and coming back fresh to office to ensure that we can deliver what needs to be delivered.
Very true. Very true. And there are a lot of programs that I have conducted with a lot of corporates on stress management, and a full day kind of a session where I really help people to actually switch off from their work, because it is very very important. Now please understand that your mental health is as important as your physical health,
Physical health. Yes, sir.
right? And you need to take care of that mental health. The kind
Yes,
of
sir.
stress that you are developing in your mind can actually become chronic,
Yes,
and
sir.
that can lead to health issues. You must have definitely heard people saying that I have digestion issues, or I have a backache, or I have migraine, I have bp, blood
Spondylitis.
pressure
Yes.
issues, right? Now this is a result of what is happening, what is that you're doing to your mental health, which is actually converting into the physical issues, the health
Yes, sir.
issues that you're facing. So it
Yes,
is
sir.
very important for you to take care of that. And I remember,
Yes.
Varun, initially when I started, okay, I was excited. I wanted to deliver as much as I could. And I remember sleeping at the office to
Wow.
deliver a few things that we had to
Well, you know
deliver.
what, Amit?
We
You're
had,
not alone. You're not alone.
yes, I am
I
not
know a lot of
alone.
people. I
Absolutely.
did that too.
Yes.
I did that
Yes.
too. But then
And
again, I think there
initially,
should be a limit for that, right, Amit? I think, I mean, it was you're young, we are young, so we wanted to prove in this competitive world, you require that extra mile effort that needs to be put. So that's when we actually do these kinds of stuff. But then again, I think that should not be taken as granted by the employers and expect them to be
yes,
delivered every time, right? So you were talking about
very
the
true.
physical health and the mental health connection, Amit. So I'm like wondering, a lot of, I mean, almost all the issues, health issues that we are hearing nowadays are every doctor says stress. It can
Yeah.
be work stress, it can be a family stress too.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
wondering, just like how we have a migraine or we have, let's say, we are talking about obesity, it's visible. We are talking about some other physical condition which is visible. In the same manner, does it really show up in the scans like an MRI or a CT? What happens in our brain when we undergo stress?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Let me also tell you that what really happens with our brain. Okay.
Sure, sir.
In a layman's language, I'll try to explain it to you.
That really
Now,
helps. Yes.
our brain, Varun, works as one single unit.
Yes.
Okay. And as you know, that it is uh, sending signals for the functioning of our entire body, right? Now, when you keep stressing upon a particular point or multiple points for a longer period of time, maybe 1 year, 2 year, okay, it becomes a chronic stress. So what happens to our brain is that it starts compartmentalizing. And one of the key area is that prefrontal cortex, if you have heard of that. And it
Okay.
starts shrinking, the prefrontal cortex, because that is something which really helps to send all the signals to our body parts. And what happens is that it impairs the decision making and problem solving abilities. right? This is one thing. And because the brain compartmentalizes the signal that it is sending to the body parts are getting multiple signals, and they don't understand that how do I really function. And that is when you start seeing the health issues in your body, right?
Right.
So the prefrontal cortex shrinks, the amygdala, which is the fear center. You must have heard of the flight and the fight, flight, and the freeze
Yes, sir.
phenomena, right?
Yes, yes.
So the amygdala, which is the fear center, it enlarges, and it
Hmm.
makes employees more reactive and anxious.
Okay. Right, right,
Okay.
right, right.
And the third thing is the dopamines and the serotonin levels that we have. Now, dopamine is something for our motivation. Serotonin is something which is for our mood elevators, right?
Right.
Now, the levels of dopamine and serotonin, they reduce. It goes down,
Okay.
right? And that
Okay.
puts the person into the feeling of depression.
Okay.
Now, this is one thing. Now, second thing that you asked is that can we actually see that in the scans? Yes, we can see. In the prefrontal cortex, there is a gray matter which you can see that it has lowered.
Okay.
And there have been studies that have been done by the doctors where they say that it is not only mental, the stress is not only mental, it is actually physical. You can actually see that,
Oh, okay. Okay. So it is
right?
visible.
And
So scans
it is
do
visible.
show the physical changes of the brain of a person who is mentally stressed out. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm not talking
Okay.
about the smaller stresses, Varan. I'm
Okay.
talking about some chronic stress.
Okay.
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 And
Long-term
there is
stresses, you
also,
meant to say. Okay.
yes, yes.
Okay.
And you build it over time
Right,
in
right,
your
sir.
corporate life, right? And of course, in the corporate world, your stresses are much more uh, than what you are actually facing in your personal life. I don't say that you don't face in personal, but it is more impactful
Yes, sir.
because there is a financial stability that the person is looking for. Okay, if the person feels, the amygdala feels that yes, if I lose this job, what is going to happen, the financial stability, I lose that stability, and that is why it creates a lot of stress
Right,
in the
sir.
brain of the person, right?
Right, right, right. Great. So, sir, I think we also have to give credit to the employers and the corporate companies who have been taking up a lot of programs to actually enrich the mental stress or the mental wellness of the employees.
Mm,
Sorry, not mental stress, mental wellness of the employees around the world.
yeah,
They are incorporating these corporate wellness programs. They're incorporating these stress management programs, these neuro-linguistic programs, and all. You were talking about NLP. You are one of the experts in that. But
yeah.
there is a term that I was researching and I heard, sir, which is called as toxic positivity. What does it mean? Every
Mm,
company wants all the employees to be positive, right? So to think positive, to do positive, and employees are expected to be always happy. Uh, that's humanly not possible, right? So because a human is a mix of all the emotions, right? That's why we are different from other animals. Does that also harm our health?
uh, I would say yes. Okay, however, I am also a promoter of think positive. But in the corporate world, the term the toxic positivity, yes, what happens is that it puts a lot of pressure to always maintain a
Be
positive
happy,
attitude,
right, sir?
right? So what really happens in that case is that even when the situation is unhealthy, we are asking the employee that you have to maintain the positive attitude, right? Now, what is really happening because of that? There is an emotional suppression leading to increased anxiety and frustration. Again, guilt and self blame. Blame. What happens is making employees feel weak for struggling because they are not able to express themselves.
Right.
See, it is important for you to be able to express at least the situation is not good. We have to find out a solution for this, right?
Agreed, sir.
And of course, it creates a burnout because people push through exhaustion and instead of
Right, sir.
addressing it, they are suppressing it,
Right, right, right.
right?
Amit, can you give us an example of your personal experience working with any employee? employee or an employer who where you have struggled a lot, or probably one use case, you struggled a lot for making him stop working after he comes back home, or maybe trying to actually build a work-life balance in his daily routine. Can you share one example with us, Amit?
Come back with the question, Varun.
Well, any example that you were able to help an employee to build up the work-life balance?
The work-life balance. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm just trying to recollect. Yes. So there was a guy I was working with, and of course, he was from the bank. Now, the thing was that he came and told me that I feel that there is a brain fog in my mind.
Oh,
He used this term, right? He said that sometimes what happens is that when I am sitting in the presentations, when I'm sitting in the meetings, although I am aware that the solution that I will be able to give uh, will be will be important, will can be used as a solution. But at that point in time, what happens is that there is a brain fog, and I feel that I will not be able to share it. And if I share, I don't know how people will take it, right?
okay, got it.
And now I asked him that since when is it happening? So then he told me that there was a meeting where I had presented one of my solutions, and it wasn't accepted, that particular
Oh,
solution, and I was shot down. And so he said that at that point in time, and there was a lot of pressure in his job
okay,
also. Okay, and then he said that that was the day when I actually thought that possibly my solutions are not good. I am not good enough, right? And this was actually stemming from that meeting and all the previous pressures that he was actually facing uh, in his work area, right? So with NLP, with new code NLP, now there is a new concept that I'm bringing in here, Varun, which is called the pattern. Okay,
okay.
now uh, see, our brain loves efficiency. Okay, now when I say efficiency, what really happens is I'll give you an example. Okay, do you drive, Varun?
I do, yes. Uh-huh.
You do. Okay, and when you learned your car, was it a geared one or an automatic one?
It was a geared one.
A geared one. Okay,
Yes.
now initially when you were actually learning, you were conscious about changing the gears, when to press
Yes,
the
it
brake,
was.
when to press the accelerator, right? And you were looking
Yes.
here and there, you were conscious about
Yes.
making that move, right?
Yes, sir.
But now what is happening? You're
Subconsciously, I think I
driving.
don't even have to, apply my mind. As soon as I get into the car, my body parts will do what they have to do to make the car run on the roads
Absolutely, right? You're doing it unconsciously,
automatically.
subconsciously,
Yes.
right?
Subconsciously.
You're
Correct.
even talking over the phone, you're having your coffee, you're having an apple, maybe talking to the co-passenger
Chit chatting
also,
and all. Yes, sir, I agree. Because
and you're
initially,
driving.
when we were learning, yes, initially, when I was learning, I don't like people talking who is sitting next to me because I want to focus on the road. Now I'm chit chatting and I am actually, I can drink water when I'm driving and all because I've got used to it over the course of time.
Right. Okay. Now, why that happened is because you created a pattern in your subconscious mind,
Okay.
right? And then you are working on auto mode.
Right, right,
Okay.
right. Okay.
Now, these patterns we have in our mind, we have been creating these patterns since our childhood, Varun.
Okay.
Okay. Whatever information that we are taking inside the conscious and the subconscious mind, it is creating that into a pattern. Now, when
Okay.
you repeat it multiple times, there is a fixed pattern that gets created. Okay, now there are good patterns, there are bad patterns. Now the important part is that if we are able to break these patterns, we will be able to transform. Now something which
Right.
is happening in your office, when it is repeated, when you are shot down with your ideas, there is a pattern that gets created, that yes, if I say something, it will not be accepted. You will
Oh,
stop becoming more creative.
Okay, okay,
You will not
okay.
share your ideas, right?
Right,
It's
right, right.
impacting your self-worth also, and you're
Well, then
creating
all this
this
experience,
pattern.
yeah, exactly. Well, then all this experience, what that person would have gained would have gone back. His confidence would have gone down to zero. What did you do, sir? How
Absolutely.
did you bring him up? What solution you gave
So
it to?
now
Because
the
I'm
thing
sure a lot
was,
of them can connect to this.
absolutely. Now, in New Code NLP, there are ways and techniques by which you can actually break these patterns. Okay. Now, right now, also, I'll tell you another concept here.
Sure, sir.
So, the synapse, okay, between the neural points, there is a synapse that gets created. Right now, also, you are creating a new neural connection because the information that I'm sharing to you is new for you, possibly.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
And you're creating a connection. Now it is
right.
important for us to actually break that connection, that pattern, which is not helping you.
Yes, sir.
And as soon as you create that pattern, there is a new connection that you can create, and it's a new connection that can help you transform. Okay.
Oh,
So,
okay,
with these exercises, with these techniques, you can break these patterns. And as soon as you break these patterns, you will be able to change the way you start thinking. When you get into
okay,
that situation again, you can start giving the ideas, become more creative. The brain fog reduces. You will have more clarity in your mind.
okay.
So, there are multiple things that are required to be done in
Okay.
these areas. So, I
Sir,
worked with that
you
person.
mentioned, great, great. So you meant, sorry to interrupt you. The term that you used, the training, what you have mentioned is new code NLP. Am I correct, sir?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Uh,
How
Now,
long did it take to train that employee, sir, for with this technique and to break that pattern you're talking about and build a new pattern and bring up his confidence? What is the training period or the counseling period?
so it was around 6 to 8 sessions,
Okay.
generally. Okay. Uh, but it also depends on the willingness of the person. Please
Right, right.
understand, Varun,
I
that if the person
yes.
is not willing, these techniques are not going to help.
I
Because
agree, sir.
till
I
the
agree.
time you tell your mind that, yes, I want to change, you will never be able to change.
I agree, sir.
I will give you
I
all
agree,
the
sir.
techniques, everything. But if you are not willing, nothing is going to happen.
I agree,
Okay.
sir.
So
I agree.
there are people that I have worked with. They got the results in 2 sessions. There are people who have got in 8 sessions. There are people who have got in 10 sessions.
Okay,
It
okay.
all depends from person to person.
And their
Okay,
willingness to accept that the counseling you're giving to them.
absolutely. It is not. I won't call it as a counseling. It is just helping them to change the patterns.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay. Amit,
Yeah,
does this require a person to come in person to you, or can this also happen online?
absolutely. Online. Most of my clients, they're all online, all across the
Okay.
globe.
Oh, okay.
So
Great, great,
it is not required. Not required.
great, great. Okay.
There
No,
are
this helps because
very few cases for which we need in-person sessions. Yeah,
okay, okay, because this helps a lot of people to first make an attempt to talk to you, sir, because that's why I asked this question, whether we can actually
yeah,
conduct these sessions online, and great that you are able to do that. Amit, while we talk about different industries here, every industry has different levels of stresses. So, Amit, in continuation to the previous example that you were giving to us, you kind of mentioned about one of your customers, or I would say an employee, was actually facing a bad time at his office. His solutions were shot down and they were not welcomed. And he continued to form a pattern in his mind that his solutions are not worthy anymore. So, in the similar fashion, there is a fact that came out. It was actually written in one of the articles as well that one of the top-notch companies, which actually is an e-commerce giant, I would say, they have a big warehouse, right? So, in the warehouse, the employees are under 24 by 7 surveillance. So, imagine you working in an environment where every single movement of yours is observed and is questioned. Of course, surveillance is there everywhere. But when we talk about a continuous surveillance, even at your leisure time, does that really affect? a mental health of an employee and his ability to perform a task that he wants to perform in his own style?
Absolutely. Absolutely. See, the thing is that when in these kind of situation, what happens is that you are working at a heightened alertness always, right? And that constant monitoring that triggers the fight or flight mode within your system, which is the amygdala that I was talking about, right?
Yes, sir.
Now this definitely leads to a lot of stress, paranoia, or exhaustion, right?
Oh,
Because you are continuously being observed, and in your mind you are telling your mind that I am being observed or I have to be observant for that matter,
okay,
right? So they
okay,
stop feeling like humans. They
okay.
stop feeling like humans. They think that they are a robot, and
Right,
they
right,
will
right.
continuously keep working. So what will happen is that their emotional strength reduces, a
Reduces.
lot of
Correct.
stress gets developed, and that results into chronic stress later on.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
I understand, sir. I understand. I think this is a great area that mental wellness programs are supposed to be conducted either at large in mass or those employees who are undergoing this kind of a continuous surveillance. It can be at any part of their work. Should go through some sort of a therapy or a discussion with a psychologist like you for them to overcome that stress that may be building within themselves, they may not be realizing about it. Great, I
Very true.
understand, sir. I mean,
Very true.
adding on to this, Amit, I'm sure you must have heard this term again, which is
Hmm.
AI anxiety syndrome, artificial intelligence anxiety syndrome. Now, there is a
Yeah.
big discussion which is circling around the world that artificial intelligence is going to take away your jobs. So, a lot of employees are under a lot of stress that they will be replaced. We have heard
Right.
this when computers were invented because it was all manual before the computers were there. We have heard this
Yeah.
when computers were invented. We have heard this especially in the when softwares were invented to maintain the accounts as well as everything else. We have heard this when manual testing was automated in terms of robotic process automation. Now, or I wouldn't say now because artificial intelligence has been there for a very long time, but I think it's now
Yeah.
in the boom
Yeah.
because of the
Yeah.
law, because of thanks to ChatGPT, Gemini, and a lot of LLMs that are providing a lot of free notes to people to build AI models for them. How do
Very
you
true.
think employees should take this anxiety of related to artificial intelligence?
I feel it is natural because the kind of information that people are getting around this area, they have easy access to it. Okay. And
Okay,
everybody is saying that yes, AI is going to replace a lot of jobs. And possibility is that it is true to an extent. But see, at the same time, you also have to understand that people feel that they will be replaced by automation, and that is
yes,
what
sir.
the AI anxiety syndrome is all about, which leads to their job insecurities and the stress. They have less motivation because they feel that their skills will become obsolete, right?
Obsolete. Yes,
And people feel that they will have a identity crisis, something that I've been doing for so many years. I will not be able to do anything. They're questioning their self-worth, right? But I would say that AI, please consider AI as an enabler. It is helping people.
100%, sir.
Okay, it will help people. Okay, for maybe easing your job,
Yes, sir.
right? And at the same time, one thing which is I've learned that whether it is AI or anything else for that matter, you need to keep upgrading yourself at all times, Varun.
100%.
It is not that you have taken a degree, an MBA degree or a PhD, and you are done.
You're done. Yes,
I am still reading, Varun. I'm
yes, sir.
still reading. I'm still doing some certifications, and I
Excellent.
feel that I'll continue to do for the rest of my life.
Excellent.
If I have to
Excellent.
up my game, I have to do this, whether it
Yes,
is
sir.
AI or anyone else for that matter.
I
So I
agree,
would
sir.
say that it is an enabler, and it is going to help you. So just do your continuous learning and adapt yourself. to this
Yes, sir.
new world. And you are absolutely right. Internet came, right? Computers had come, and then robotics came. Absolutely.
Yes,
So
sir.
you don't have to worry about it. I can understand that, yes, there will be anxiety. It is okay. But at the same time, just keep upgrading yourself.
Absolutely. I mean, I'd like to add a point here because we saw an era of migration from manual notes to computers, and there was an
Yeah,
anxiety developed in between the employees they may lose their jobs. But in reality, it happened the contrast. A lot of people have gotten jobs in this computer world. Software
yeah,
industry has boomed, and millions and billions of people have gained a lot of employment, as well as they earned a lot of money. Classic examples, we have the Silicon Valley of India, Bangalore, we have Hyderabad, we have Mumbai, we have Chennai, all these metros, lots and lots of international companies, local companies have come up. And to the contrast of losing the jobs, a lot of people have gotten the jobs. And I can actually say this artificial intelligence enablement has actually helped a lot of startups to grow.
very
Lot of
true.
entrepreneurs are coming up now. Lot of
Very true.
employment these entrepreneurs are creating. I think it's important for you to get acquainted with these technologies, and then build up your ability in terms of developing solutions around it. So I 100% agree with you, Amit. AI is just an enabler. It's not a job snatcher. You need to upgrade yourself. As the moment your learning stops is when probably you need to worry about. Until your learning continues, you need not be worrying about. So Amit, I also would like to ask you on behalf of the employees, because there was a statement which is also said by the United States president in the recent interview which I've seen. Employees
Hmm,
are not actually working from home. They may probably have gone to golf or doing something else, so they better come
hmm,
back to office and work from office. And I'm
hmm,
sure even before that, a lot of tech giants as well as a lot of corporate companies have started calling the employees back to office. The argument from the employees' side is I'm more productive and efficient when I'm working from my home rather than going to office. You can imagine going to office in a city like Bangalore or in Chennai or in Mumbai, the travel that they need to do,
yeah,
the stress what they need to undergo in terms of getting ready on time, getting dressed up, going to office, eat whatever is available, and again come back home and work. Then that is even more stressful, isn't it, sir? So what will you answer? What's your take on? I mean, I'm not asking you to talk on behalf of the employers, but then again,
hmm,
psychologically, how should these employees prepare themselves to go back to office because they don't have a choice now? And what is
hmm.
your suggestion to the employers who are forcing the employees to come back to office? I'm talking about from the psychological point of view of either an employer or an employee.
Hmm. Okay. Now, I remember uh, I was actually working at that point in time when there was a space crunch in our office,
Okay,
right?
okay,
And people were the employer was trying to find out that how can people start working from home. It is
okay.
pre-COVID. It is
Oh, okay,
pre-COVID. Okay,
okay,
and at that point in time, people said that no, it is not possible. We won't be able to work from home, and it is important for us to be in office. We have to be in the meetings and everything. And then the COVID hit, and people were forced to work from
to
home,
work from. Yes, sir.
right? And some businesses uh, went completely bad, bankrupt. However, there were a few businesses that actually excelled in that area, during that area, in the COVID area, right? Now, the employers who were saying that, the employees who were saying that work from home won't be possible, now it was possible. We saw that, right? Now, what is the flip side to it? Uh, when you started working from home, there was loneliness, there was isolation, right? There were no boundaries. It was harder to disconnect at that point in
Correct, sir.
time,
Correct.
right? And however, there was another thing that people were missing was the social connect.
Yes,
Because
sir.
see, as a human person, it is important that we have a social connection. And when you
Yes, sir.
don't see a person in front of you, you don't feel that connect,
Very true.
right? So people were missing that. And now the employers are saying that yes, you have to come back. Now there are pros and cons to working from home, right? From both the employer side as well as the employee side. But it is important that you have that social connection. For that, definitely you have to be in the office. It is
Office. Okay.
important. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So till the time you do not have that social connection, you feel something is missing. And there
Right,
is
sir.
an anxiety that gets generated in your mind
Okay.
that I do not have a social connection. It is
Okay.
very important. And
Right.
Varun, separately, I would like to highlight this particular point. I have
Sure.
spoken to quite a lot of people from the
Okay.
corporates, not from the corporates, who do not have people to talk to,
Oh.
and
Okay.
they go in deep depression, even
Okay.
suicidal cases.
Okay.
Okay,
Can you
because
give
they
an
do not
example,
have any
Amit?
social.
Right. Can you give an
Yeah,
example of one of those cases, Amit, if that's okay for you?
yeah, sure. So there's a lady in London. Okay, and she contacted, and I try to understand her history. And what really happened was that during COVID, she lost her near and dear ones. Okay, and she was left completely alone because every other person from her family was in a different country, and she lost three people in her family,
Very
and she
unfortunate.
was all alone. She lost her job, and she was not working at all, and there was no one that she had to connect to in the area that she was staying. Okay,
Okay.
conditions were such that she did not have
Yes.
anyone. Now she was missing that social connection. Okay, and she thought that if I do not have this social connection, she went into suicidal thoughts.
Oh my God.
And
Okay.
again, I would like to bring in New Code NLP again here, and we were able to actually bring her back. She's leading a normal life today, and
Okay.
she's completely out. She has started working, and she is very good right now.
Okay.
She was
What were the
on
warning signs?
medication also.
Oh, okay. Okay. What were the warning signs, Amit? What triggered her to reach out to you? How did she find out that, she's having some sort of an issue at all? What were the warning signs or symptoms?
She actually wanted to reach out because there was somewhere some part of her said that she wants to live. Okay, and
Oh,
of course
okay.
it
Okay.
was through the internet that she reached out, and
Okay.
that is when we started doing her sessions, and she completely came out of came out of that.
Well, very glad, Amit. I mean, that's why you people are extremely important in our society because there's a lot of negativity around us and there's a lot of isolation around us. And people like you enlighten us to make sure that we take the right decisions. It was a myth back then to reach out to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and they call you
Absolutely.
as someone who's mentally ill. But now I think it's no more a myth. I don't think anyone should take it as a myth. It's a health related check and balance that you're trying to do when you're unwell, when you're depressed, when you're suppressed, and all. Because we're all living in a nuclear families, right? I think that's one of the
Yeah,
factors as
yeah,
well. Previously, there were joint
very true.
families. Now there are no more
Yeah,
joint families. All right, so
true.
let's come back and that's a great example, Amit. And I'm sure a lot of people, whoever is watching this, will also take help from psychologists like Amit before you make any decisions that affect your life. Now, Amit, we'll talk about a very big subject. This subject, this is not a new subject. This has been an old subject, but we'll talk about layoffs, right? The moment we talk about layoffs, we get these bigger companies into the picture. Very recently, one of the biggest companies have laid off, I think, close to some hundreds of their employees, and they claim that they did not go through the training assessment, right? I mean, let's not name the company anyways. But then again, what sort of a psychological disturbance these employees will go through when they get laid off? What kind of brain-related changes happens when these employees get laid off, either in mass or individually, Amit?
Okay. Uh, I'll share 2 points here.
Sure,
Okay. Now, I'll relate it to the loved one also, Varun
sure.
here. Now, when you lose a loved one, okay, your emotional stability goes down.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and when you lose a job, your financial stability goes down.
Goes down.
Okay. Now, of course, they are both related also. When I'm talking about financial, there is an emotional component also there. When I'm talking about emotional, there is a financial component also there,
Right.
right? Now, what happens is that because of this, it threatens, when the layoff happens, it threatens their own identity, their
Right.
stability, and their self worth. They feel that, am I really good enough that I was chosen for this layoff,
Yes.
right? Now, as soon as that happens, there is a trigger. Again, the amygdala comes into picture, right? Now, what they will create is what kind of pattern they will create is that I am not good enough, and possibly when I
Oh,
go to the other company, I will get laid off there as well.
again.
The
Okay.
person
Okay.
has created a pattern in his or her own mind, and that is what the person is carrying to the other company whenever the
Okay.
person gets a new job, right?
Oh.
And the person unconsciously is thinking about it, and when a
Mm-hmm.
person keeps thinking about it, it actually starts becoming a reality, and possibly the
Right.
person will get laid off from the other company as well. Okay. Now
Right.
then
Right.
it
Right.
becomes a cycle, because when it keeps repeating, it becomes a cycle. Now a person who's able to break that pattern, possibly they can continue. So there are many things that we will have to do with this kind of a person. We will have to increase their self-worth, we will have to break the patterns, we will have to
Yes.
elevate the entire uh,
Moral.
dopamine and the serotonin levels, the morale
Right.
of that particular of that person, right? Because what will happen is that this triggers the shock, the denial, the anger, the depression, and the acceptance about themselves. They
Okay.
start doubting themselves,
Yes, sir.
and
Yes, sir.
it is a
Very true.
deep psychological wound. It is just not a career setback, I would say.
Yes, sir. I mean,
One
very true what
another
you said.
point, Varun,
Yes.
one more important point I want to share here. Every single incident in our life has an emotional connection in our body.
Okay.
Whatever is happening, okay, you get the
Okay.
first job, you are very happy, there is an emotional
Connection.
connect in your body. Okay.
Okay.
There's something which is not good which is happening, maybe you lost someone, there is an emotional connect in our body, right?
Okay.
And when similar situations occur, that emotional connection comes out again, and then it makes it even more prominent in your body. If it is a bad
Okay.
one, it starts creating a pattern in your mind and your body, in your neural pathways.
Okay.
Okay. And the stronger it becomes, you will start observing it a lot in your life.
Right, 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 sir. I mean, I can totally understand what you're saying, and I believe maybe getting laid off from a company doesn't mean it's the end of the world. I think probably
Yes.
that should be the understanding of a person who is probably getting laid or probably got laid from a company. There are tons of other opportunities. If you need support, there are tons of people that are available as well. Sir, I mean, when
True.
we talk about such burnouts, Ahmed, so I want to ask you, so why does employers always blame the employees for these burnouts? Aren't they supposed to take some accountability or responsibility? Should they be doing something different? Because after all, their employees are getting burnt out working for their own company, for them, for their company, right? So aren't they supposed to take some sort of an accountability and help them come out of it, do something different for them? What do you think they should be doing on it?
It's high time, Varun, that companies take the accountability now. And I have been working in this space. There are companies that have started taking it seriously, the mental well-being of people. uh, but you know what happens is that it has to be a culture of the entire organization. An
Right.
organization, every company that I have worked for had a different kind of a culture.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that culture comes from the top, right? Now what is the person sitting at the top thinking, or maybe the one downs, or maybe their one downs, what is that they are
Right.
thinking? They have to take the accountability and understand that employee is an asset. I always say that the organization is only because of the employees. If you remove
Employees.
all
Yes,
the
sir.
employees, do you think the organization exists? No, it doesn't.
Absolutely not. Yes, sir.
So that is the
I
most
agree.
important asset that you have.
Yes, sir.
And if we can take care of that asset, possibly your organization will go somewhere else. It is
Agreed, sir.
important
Agreed.
to take care of their mental well-being. And yes, you're right. It is high time. They should take the accountability of this.
Right, right. I agree, sir. And a final question, Amit. So, if you have to give a message to all the corporate employees who are listening right now, what would it be? It can be for employers as well as for employees. So, what would that one message that you want to give, Amit?
In fact, I mentioned it earlier because I really want to give this message to everyone that your mental health is as important as your physical health.
Physical health.
You
Yes,
can
sir.
go
You
to
said
the gym for your physical body, but it is important for you to take care of your mental health. If you do not
yes, sir.
take care of your mental health, it will start having issues
Affecting.
in your physical body. So it is very, very important. You have to take care of your family, you have to take care of yourself, right? So that is why it is so important that you take care of your mental health. That's
Yes,
one
sir.
message which I always give.
Absolutely, sir. How about a message to employers, Amit?
Employers, like I said earlier, that the employees are the assets of your organization, and without the
Yes.
employees, there is no organization. So it is important that we create such a culture in which the person feels that yes, I am being taken care of.
Yes.
If the person
Correct.
feels that, because see, feeling is something which is again related to your emotion. If you are able to feel that yes, the company is taking care of me, possibly your productivity, your efficiency will be much
Will
higher,
increase. I agree, sir. 100%. 100%. They
much
should be
higher.
felt. Yes, I agree. So I can also connect the dots. So um, uh, I think it's probably important for the employers to conduct some periodic stress management sessions and also some leadership sessions for the employers, Summit. So that helps the employers
Yes,
also to
yes,
behave well. When I say well, in the sense, in a certain manner with their employees, understand, give
right.
them that liberty to speak up and also reward them and award them when it's necessary and pull them up when they are down, etc. I think it's important. It's high time, Amit.
Yes, 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 it is very, very important. In fact, I have been working with some companies on the stress management also. And in fact, I have told them that it is, see, it is not only for your junior staff or the middle management, it is
Yes,
for everyone.
everyone.
Because, see, now the leaders also, please understand that even they are facing or feeling the stress,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Because there's
yes.
a lot of
Correct.
pressure on them as
Yes,
well,
yes,
and the kind of stress that they are feeling, that they are going through, is also quite a lot, Varun.
yes,
So it is
yes,
important that till the time you are not clear in your mind, till the time you don't clear your stress in your mind and your body, you will not be able to deliver what you are really capable
supposed to.
of delivering.
Oh, correct,
Your
sir.
true potential, your full potential will not come to the surface. It is important
Yes,
for you to work on that as well, right?
yes, sir.
I was talking about, if you remember, I was talking about the endorphins and
Yes,
the
sir.
serotonin
Yes,
I was talking about. Now, these are the mood elevators. So
yes, sir.
companies should work on areas uh, like doing something. engagement kind of things with people. There should be some social connect within the company that they can have, something that really helps elevate their mood. So these are few things that you should definitely take care of, that should be done as part of uh, the organization, which will really help elevate these levels. It will really help.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Amit. It's been pleasure talking to you and discussing some very important factors. So we have uncovered some, dark truths today, but awareness is the first step to change, I believe. And if any one of you have related to anything we talked about, know that you're not alone, right? So share this episode with a friend who is in need. It's important. You never know who needs it when, and that one particular change will actually help them come back on track and do what they really need to do and achieve their targets. Once again, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Do subscribe to our channel. We will continue to bring up these valuable, important episodes with the industry experts as well as the healthcare experts. Once again, thank you so much, Amit Rastogi. And Amit can be found on our platform, gentlemen. So you can also come back to our platform, Medicus, find him and get connected with him. Once again, a very good day ahead. We will come back again. Amit, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Varun. It was great discussing this.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Bye.